Are you ready? Yeah! All right, here we go. Everybody, get on up and do your stuff. You better get up. Take the rub off the floor. We're gonna groove right here a little bit more. Do your stuff. Don't be so rough, but you got to be tough when you do your stuff.
Good afternoon to the Howick Bowling Club here in Auckland, as we've got the final of the Ryman Healthcare 242 pairs hosted by Auckland Bowls, and we've got the final first end has been played, and we've got Colin Williams and Tessa Farley of Point Chevalier up against Kimberly Hemingway and James Williams. We saw earlier the Hemingway-Williams combination defeat Te Aotearoa and Agnes Motu in their semi-final, and we saw a come behind win with an extra in for Colin Williams and Tessa Farley over Jenny Stockford and Alex Reid, when the score was locked up 16-all after the 16 ends, and not to be for the Reid combination dropping out on that extra end. And of course with me right now though, I'm fortunate, he's got over the commiserations, and Alex Reid with me. Good afternoon, Alex.
Good afternoon, Kevin. Yes, I went for a walk around the block and I'm now at peace and looking forward to watching this final. It should be a good one, I'm sure.
You didn't kick any stones or anything dangerous, did you?
No, I wouldn't do something like that, Kev.
Okay, that's fine. Now, Tamara and I, though, are most concerned about your sunburn, though.
Yes.
The upper cranium region has certainly got some redness about it.
Yeah. I experimented with not wearing a cap yesterday. I had sunblock and sunglasses, but I don't think my skin's made for that sort of stuff.
No, I don't think so, mate. And wait till you get to that really searing Taranaki sun next week.
Yeah, I might have to get a full brim hat for that, I think.
Yeah, well, a full Panama. I got one right here, Alex. Look at that, see? Full Panama.
I'll give it a go.
Right.
Oh, what a shot there from James Williams while we've been talking.
So, first end is underway, has been completed, and we saw Colin Williams and Tessa Farley score a 2. I must admit, Tessa Farley played what I would say is one of the great bowls that I've seen, when in the extra end whereby Alex Reid had drawn a back toucher and virtually looked unbeatable, and Tessa Farley played with some weight through the head and ran into the short bowls and pushed it through onto the Alex Reid bowl and moved it and into a little niche. And it was an unbelievable bowl, really, Alex, wasn't it?
Yeah, so all I could see, the only way we could drop a point was that. But I was feeling pretty comfortable, I'll be honest.
Well,
until she let it go and it looked close, and it didn't stop looking close.
Every right to be so. So we look down now, it's James Williams from Carlton, who's holding the shot, sitting right on top of the jack after he trailed it. And the green's running well. Well, it always runs well here, Alex, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's running probably 17 seconds plus at the moment. It'll speed up as the day goes on, but it's pretty good. And the wind it's not too bad there at the moment. So we should see some pretty good bowls, as evidenced, I suppose, by the fact that James has got a front toucher there.
Yeah, I reckon it was around the 18-second mark, really, and because you've got a bit of breeze as well, especially going down towards the Maraetai end here.
Yeah.
There was definitely a bit of breeze, and very good bowl from James Williams, as we see Tessa Farley endeavouring to make contact with it, and goodness, she's going to spring the jack out. Still the same result, but what it's done, of course, now, though it is open to head up, hasn't it, Alex, for the draw?
Absolutely, it's got much more room to play with. She played a screamer on the first end. I was looking down while you and Tamara were setting up. They were 2 or 3 down in a bunch, and she played a run shot, crunched it back for 2. So Tessa is certainly in fine form today.
Represent New Zealand in curling.
Yes, that's correct. And her sister Chelsea, she's been all around the world curling with rocks, and now she's rolling bowls up a green.
Really much curling going on here today. So, and you'd be pleased, Alex, that a challenging 8 days or 6 days with the Nationals, as you've been the, I would call the technical manager of it all, but challenging weather conditions, but we got through it all.
Yes, there were some stressful moments, but we're very content with how everything ended up, and it was good to see some deserved and very happy winners as well throughout the competition.
What I enjoyed, especially on that last day, was as we had that challenging weather conditions, and I had a look afterwards, in fact, and by goodness, there were some experts on Facebook that day who really...
Oh, there's always experts on Facebook, Kev.
that were telling us where we should go and what we should be doing. And as it turned out blistering hot in the afternoon, and all the play got completed. Great attempt here.
Here's an interesting moment in this game, isn't it? Second end, what sort of weight is Colin calling for Tess?
Well, the danger is to play, to get narrow on this here, on this backhand, and I thought should be more inclined to play the forehand where there's a rest up here, because the danger is that you can easily duck under the head. But well played by Tessa Farley. She's not going to go a bit of weight on it, but will go by, but was certainly on the right side of the line. In fact, went all the way to the ditch, holding 3 shots, well, could be 4 shots in fact. So Kimberly Hemingway this morning was very impressive though in that match against Peter Shane, and Karen De Jong played very, very well.
Yes, her and James have been in fine form all weekend. They were on the same green as us yesterday in that second day of qualifying, and you can hear what's going on when James is playing a game of bowls, and he was talking a lot about how well Kimberly was playing, so she's certainly going well. And look there, she's put 3 bowls within
certainly
a few feet. That's pretty good.
He's very animated, isn't he?
Yeah, it's good to watch. It makes it interesting. I think Colin might have a nibble here. I'm not sure what sort of weight. He's got a full-blooded drive on him, but he's also got a lovely sort of resting shot, and there's that nice sort of... he can miss by 2 or 3 feet on his forehand there into that bunch of bowls and get a good result. That's
good weight up through there. There's 4 bowls there, of course, to rest on, and you don't have to attack it at 100 miles an hour. Just play that line with good reaching weight for jack movement, that's what he looks like on that forehand.
Yeah, it's really important that you use your collision bowl in situations like this. It needs to be able to hang around to do good stuff.
Well, is it going to hold under the line? No, it's not. Perhaps they really, Alex, could have used another yard of weight, really, to get to that where the 3 bowls are, that collision area. So here is James Williams, the Carlton greenkeeper, and this is on a good line, especially if it gets inside the Tessa Farley bowl, and is going
That's
to.
A great bowl. What
That's
a shot,
wonderful bowl that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Time for a nibble, Colin.
Yeah, it's got to be reaching with good weight up through there. Get reduction.
Oh, his forehand, is it going to break in time?
I don't think so. It might break to the outside one, but knocks it in closer.
Yeah, that's a shame. He'll be disappointed with that. It's a 5 without James's bonus bowl coming in. And James, when you're in a situation like this, holding a number and there's a little bit to draw as the skip, you have to make sure you have to pump yourself up for that bonus bowl. So James will be doing his best to get a 6 here.
Well, he was on that same line. I just questioned the weight on the way through. Is it going to get all the way with the weight? No, it's not, as you just spoke about.
Yeah, I know it's funny to say, but although Colin dropped to 5 there, he'll almost be breathing a sigh of relief that he hasn't dropped to 6.
That's correct. It's a 3-shot difference. Only 2 ends gone. The 5 it was. You see Kimberly Hemingway indicate. Now, I always get a wee bit confused. So, is Kimberly Hemingway now playing full time in Auckland? Is the Waikato thing not?
I actually have no idea, Kev. I know she's in the Auckland women's singles final, isn't she?
Yes, correct.
Yes, so she's definitely playing some bowls in Auckland. I'm not sure if it's full time or not, though. They're not an uncommon sight in those very striking Carlton colours.
No, that's certainly not, because I was surprised the other day. In the men's singles, all of a sudden I see Riker Gregory wearing the Carlton colours. I see Rory Soden.
Yes, I saw that as well, Kev.
They seem to be Is there some enticement that gets chucked out there?
I couldn't possibly comment. And Tess on her backhand. So Kimberley on her backhand led off, level with the jack, sitting at, 9 o'clock on the screen, or by Colin's right knee.
Yeah, that's at 9 o'clock, and we'll see the bowl of Tess has just dropped by slightly, and there is a bit of breeze there, but it's certainly one of those greens. This is one of those greens. If you take your green, you get rewarded.
Yeah.
And if you don't take your green, you get punished.
Yep. You've got to give your bowler a chance to come back, and the green does change. Doesn't change super fast, but every 4 or 5 ends it changes a little bit.
It's interesting. Earlier on today, looking right out here in front of us right now, you can see the mauvey patches out there in the middle. Well, they really changed.
Yes.
When the sun was really pounding down, and and of course in these starry compositions that can happen, and you can see the green speed change by a couple of seconds. Yep. Very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's something I had to learn because I come from an indoor background where you just play on a mat and the mat stays exactly the same for the entire time.
Doesn't change, of course, doesn't.
I had to learn just to pay attention because suddenly you might be absolutely nailing a hand and you blink and 3 or 4 ends in a row you've been narrow on it or short on it or whatever. It's just about knowing the difference between playing a bad bowl and the bowl going where you're aiming, but where you're aiming not actually being the right place. So, and
also, of course, about where you place your mat and where you then deliver the jack. That Absolutely. Also, and we certainly saw examples of that during the Nationals, and we've seen it internationally. The difference, especially internationally, the difference that it can make, as we see.
Good shot there by James.
James drawing just to the centre line, and that's one down.
Yeah, no, it's a great point you make there, Kev, particularly on a quick green like Howick. Like if someone goes 2-2, the amount of green you have to take is considerably more than if they've pulled the mat up and has a jack on the 2 or
absolutely
a short jack, because the bowl's got further distance to travel and much more time to swing.
So here's the reply from Colin Williams, and this is a great bowl here from Colin Williams, going to draw just in behind the jack. We had David Ball here with us in the last commentary, and one of the things that I was talking to him about is it's fine to have coaching, and I believe Auckland Bowls are pretty committed to a new coaching strategy, whatever you want to call it. Got a slice of the jack, but just back onto the bowl. But you can have the best coaching in the world, but if you don't have something, and that's about coaching, about game management, about game strategy, about And in the final of the women's pairs, for example, I had it marked down when Val Smith and Lisa Prideaux
nearly popped himself out, but he's still holding on to the shot there, and it's a good place.
And they dropped a 4, and to me it all came around game management, where they spent 4 bowls trying to draw around the bowl.
Yes,
and of course they finished up going under the bowl. And it's one of the most important. It's just something in New Zealand that I think, whereby so many of our past experienced players have got that much that they can offer in regards to game management and game strategy and the mat and.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that there. And, you've got 16 ends of bowls in this example that we're watching now. There's lots that can change and lots of little small things that the bowlers and skips will know they're doing. But if you're just Joe Bloggs watching from the sidelines, it's not quite so obvious, I don't think.
No, and it's from my point of view, I might be seen to get over analytical about it, because over a season one watches a lot of bowls, watches a lot of heads, watches a lot of players, and you can certainly see some aspects where I think normal coaching can over-technalise what I would call common aspects of the game.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point as well. I think it's difficult to coach shot play and shot selection because there's so many variables that happen.
Absolutely.
You have things that can happen with a bowling collision, but the trick is knowing when to do that.
Absolutely.
And what weight to play that with if you decide to do it. And that just comes, I think, as you say, from experience. You play a lot of bowls against a lot of people, and when you start off as a junior, I couldn't encourage people more, if there's any juniors listening, to play in the highest quality competitions that you can play in. Playing your century.
Totally.
You'll get absolutely creamed to begin with, but that's how it goes. You get smacked and you figure out why. And you'll find that if you ask a good player, like when I first started playing, I got creamed in the singles a few times. ask them why. What did they do? What do they think I did wrong? And they're usually quite happy to share.
Absolutely, the game does that, and again, your shot selection on this surface, for example, is different to what your shot selection and weight that you would play, for example, to Carlton Cornwall on the Manitoto.
Absolutely. There's a chance here for Kimberley if she's got the weight.
Going breaking towards it now. It's going to get to the jack.
Not
just
quite.
going to pull up just short of that jack line.
It's a pretty stressful head, I would suggest, for Colin and Tess. They've got one ball on it, but James got second and third, so all the chances in the world. Kimberley will be a bit disappointed she fell short on that, I think.
Well, it was everything to gain by being up, wasn't there, really?
Absolutely.
As you watch this bowler
Tess has to play this proactive shot here.
Breaking towards the head. If this can get a couple of more rolls out of it, it's in a pretty good line. But of course, what it does do is it opens that forward up a wee bit. We'll see now. There's Kimberley Hemingway.
Let it go lovely and smooth.
On a backhand.
How quickly is it going to break, Kev?
James Williams is watching closely, but it won't break far enough with that pace. But that was the right intention. And now from Tessa, Farley's point of view, just needs to, on the draw, give it a beat to last bowl.
Yeah, it should be a relatively safe bonus bowl. That Tessa's bowl sitting at 10 o'clock is enough to sort of stop any dangerous looking shots, and she's overplayed that anyway. So 1 to Colin Williams.
They'd be happy though, Alex, after just dropping a 5 the end before.
So the score is 5-3 to Colin, isn't it?
Yes. So 5-3 to James.
That's what I tried to say then, Kev.
I thought so.
I was just testing you to make sure you made sense.
Thank you.
I was just being hopeful.
That's right. That's fine, mate. And I believe there's one big match in section play in the Taranaki Open.
Have you heard that little rumour?
I've heard that little rumour that one Alex Reid and Colin Williams, both employees of Bowls New Zealand, are actually playing the Bowls New Zealand president and the CEO of Bowls New Zealand in a 25-end match.
There's a chance that could be happening at the Taranaki Fours, yes. I believe it's the last game.
It is the last game.
I'm a little bit stressed out about it.
Well, let's hope you don't need it, Alex.
Let's hope they don't need it. So going for a measure here. What's the minimum length a jack can be again, Kev?
I'll go with 22.
Sounds right. I never know. I just look at it and think it's either up or it's not.
Well, it's interesting. During the Nationals, Brendan Van Nistelrooy and I spoke about, I don't think I've seen so many debates. For example, in the women's singles final,
yep,
might have been the semi-final. No, the semi-final. Mandy Boyd actually lost the jack 6 times in that in that semi-final, and the number of times that we saw the umpires called right throughout was amazing.
That's interesting. It is. I mean, you talk about game management, that sort of thing. It's such an important aspect of the game as throwing the jack where you want it to go. And you see, because you're setting the terms of engagement, aren't you?
Certainly,
when you're the team leading off, you're saying this is where I've put the jack, this is where you're going to be playing it to. And when you lose that psychologically, I think it's interesting to just be cognizant of.
Unless you like Jamie Hill and you just put it down there
I
somewhere.
don't think it matters where it goes for you. You could put the jack on the corner of the green and he'd still draw a front toucher.
Yeah.
Incredible. What an incredible display of lead bowls we saw from him at the National Peers.
Certainly was. He was, to me, he was more than likely for an individual display. I thought Jamie Hill was outstanding.
Yeah. Good shot there from Colin on the forehand, moving the jack off the centre line.
The shot of the tournament, in my view, was Nicole Toomey when she turned one up to 4 to virtually win the to win. What it did was the winning bowl in the women's singles, and one of the games that we were fortunate enough to cover. And I remarked about it before, was the game that Brenton and I commentated over at Sunnybray, and the final of the men's B3, B4 visually impaired singles, which Stephen Delaney won. And that was for visually impaired players, that was absolutely outstanding.
That was back-to-back national titles for him as well, I seem to recall.
It was.
What a fantastic effort there.
And here is now Tessa Farley. She's got a pretty good bowl here. It just breaks towards the centre line. It's going to sit on the bowl. It does.
Her bowls are quite interesting to watch go up the green because the paint isn't even all the way around, so it gives the illusion of them having a slight... Looks like they've got a slight wobble when you're playing against it.
Look, Alex, let's talk about your bowls, shall we?
Oh, there's only 6 colours, Kev.
Look, the people in Taranaki next week, they haven't seen anything like that. So James is following this bowl of Kimberly Hemingway's, but going to pull. And of course, a point here as well, Alex. The jack's been moved off the centre line, so it is a wee bit different, that line to the jack, isn't it? And you just got to concentrate on that. And that Tessa did very, very well with that first bowl.
She backed it up because she's done it once.
She gets past with this second bowl. She gets past that bowl. Well, that's still fine.
Great effort there. Tessa's, I've been very impressed with Tessa's play over the last couple of days. Very steady, and she seems to just draw stuff. Colin was saying, when there's no hope and you think there's no way we can get out of this, Tessa's been finding ways. So we saw a little bit of that in our semi-final, and I'm sure we'll be treated to a couple on this.
So good.
Back for one.
Well,
that went well.
But how far did it go back?
About half a bowl up, I think.
Yeah, it did.
Kimberly sort of drawing. I'd say, technically she drew the shot there, I suppose.
It's a shot now, and I always thought that Tessa played at Balmoral. Is Point Chev a recent move, is it? Or
I think she split in her time.
Right.
I'm not sure if they were able to quite field a full women's interclub team. So Tessa, and we couldn't field one either as Point Chev. We struggle for members. So I think she's sort of a partial import. Obviously, as a Point Chev member myself, I'd love to see all the Farleys move over to my club, but that's not the way it works in bowls. So we're just happy to have her playing as much as she can where we are, and obviously still supporting Balmoral.
So Tessa Farley now trailing 5-3 on a forehand with the blue and white.
Slightly overcooked there, I think.
Yeah, she gave the hand signal when she let that ball go.
Is it going to stop? That's the question. Just flopping in the ditch. You can't see it on the camera, but into the ditch it's gone.
So here is now Kimberly Hemingway, who got that bowl that went backwards towards the jack. And this bowl...
James is riding it.
James is riding this. He'll hurt himself. And just failed to get a touch on the jack.
That's the times when you're opposition, you're going to go on snick it.
Yeah, well, the back of the jack can be pretty fatal, can't it? And especially on a green at this speed as well, because it'll move.
It will definitely move.
Yeah, it won't... some of the greens will just hang there and won't go far at all, but it'll definitely move around on these greens.
So Colin's talking about playing. He's indicating playing the backhand because that last bowl of Kimberley's is just a bowl high, so he can rest on it. I think that's probably what he'll go for. It's sort of 50-50. It's 6 of one, half dozen the other at this point, isn't it? You can either draw it on your forehand. I suppose that's moving it towards Kimberley's bowl, or draw it on your backhand, which is also moving it towards Kimberley's bowl. So,
well, there's always a debate, Alex, on a green that's running relatively quick. Is it's fine to say that we'll play the open hand, but when there's resting bowls, I think it just enhances your percentage opportunity, which this backhand does for Colin to reach up. Well, he might actually get Tessa's bowl here. Wouldn't likely.
Could have gone worse actually. He's given himself a little track there on the backhand.
That wasn't really the weight that he needed to play on the backhand to get the sit.
It was interesting. He must have been looking for both the bowls or something. When we talk about that, it's like you don't have to play well to be good. You watch the good bowlers and they find a way to do it anyway because they know what area to chuck their bowl in.
Well, that's about... And we spoke at Brendan Van Nistelrooy and I spoke a lot about it during the Nationals, about getting those effective bowls and getting a high percentage on your effective bowls. And
on his backhand.
Outside the line might get Tessa. No.
Just pushed it wide.
And, if you're not getting back to the centre line as well, especially if you're playing lead or two, Alex, on these types of greens, if you're not getting back to the centre line, you're going to have a lot of ineffective bowls.
Absolutely. That's how you get yourself in trouble too, because you can salvage a couple of ends like that, but eventually you get found out and someone plucks the bowl off.
That's right.
So 2 there now, so the score is 7-3 to James and Kimberley after 4 ends of the 16. So you meant to play 16 ends in this event. If you're all square after 16, as if anyone's been watching, if you're all square after 16, you can play an extra end.
Or
And
two.
We had a debate, we had a conversation with the umpire.
We saw
An
that.
interpretation of the rules, because if it's a last end and it's killed after the time, the rules are that the jack gets respotted on the 2 metre mark in
Correct.
this event. But the conditions of play also say if the score is tied after the last end, an extra end or ends will be played.
Right.
So we interpreted that as meaning that there's room for movement to have ends.
Well, the balance fact went as your last bowl was literally coming to rest.
Yes, I thought we were running close.
So here now is Kimberley Hemingway, 4 ends gone, and they lead by 7 shots to 3.
Colin.
Yeah,
Got a bit of stick for standing in the middle.
he's going to move though. He'll know in a tick.
Any second now. Or
No.
not. Well.
So here is Tessa Farley endeavouring to.
On the back end. Good call.
Yeah,
Just slightly past. Have you noticed Tessa's delivery, Kevin?
Yeah, I
watched?
have.
Yeah, it's an interesting little foot.
that little last bit.
Yeah.
That
And if you watch her stepping foot, it's like she's in a marching band or something. Like it's quite cool. I couldn't do it. I can't get it in my head how it happens.
I actually earlier on this year I went to Balmoral when the women's singles were on and qualifying play, she through to the final. Is it? She's in the final of the Auckland Fours, isn't it? I think
Yeah, she won the Auckland Fours. Yeah.
And she was playing. Tessa was playing Lisa Prideaux, and went along and watched it, and I was. The delivery was. Yeah, different.
Yeah, it's very, very consistent. I mean, it's
Unique.
the same. It's literally the same every time that she lets go of a bowl, and she's very, very consistent. But she has a little sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, but with her stepping foot, it goes up before it goes forwards, and it's interesting.
Well, Sonny called it, who was one of the great bowlers at Canterbury, who always had a bit of used to dump his bowl a bit, and Sonny's philosophy was about it. I mean, he won a National Fours title with Morgan Moffat, and his philosophy was, well, if you dump it the same every time, then
Yeah, nothing to worry about.
nothing to worry about. And he played for Canterbury for a number of years, and of course, as I say, won a New Zealand Fours title with Morgan Moffat. And period of here early on in this head that Colin Williams gets something close.
Yeah,
This
very,
looks
very
a pretty good line. Needs to get under this James Williams, this bowl out to the side, and just going to more than likely miss a metre of weight, and Kimberley Hemingway quickly indicating to James Williams that we're holding one.
In his head, that's an easy enough correction to make from that first bowl for Colin, because your line's fine, so you just need to correct on your weight. You barely even think about it. You just give it that little bit more.
Well, even if he's a bowl wider, really, Alex,
Absolutely.
he's wide to where the shot bowl is. In fact, to the James Williams bowl, and I'm watching this bowl. He's going to get to his own bowl or slide under it, and this jack level it'll finish, and that'll be the shot. I would say,
Yeah, very, very close to the shot.
applauded by Kimberley Hemingway, and indicating that was the shot. And of course, thank you to Tamara and Mike and Steve Clifton, who have been alongside us right throughout the day, getting everything up and running. Really appreciate their help on that.
Oh, it's great to see. Oh, and what a shot there by James Williams, just navigating Colin's front bowl, sitting at 11 o'clock and drawing the shot.
Yeah, and of course it's jacked low, so it just makes it that wee bit more challenging to reach to the bowl. So here is Colin.
How much is it going to break? Interesting call. If it's a clean run, it's helpful for the next couple of bowls, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's I just wonder with that weight whether that's sort of on that line.
He needs to go. He needs to dead draw smack it, in my opinion, on the forehand. And James following his bowl up. He hasn't done it much this game, but I was watching him yesterday and they were playing exceptionally well. And he tends to follow up a bowl that he likes. And he was following up a lot of bowls. I'd be tired. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, I think I agree with you here.
Smack it.
It's got to be. You can get on these surfaces. You can get into all sorts of trouble trying to play. Well, in the old days, you used to call it palmy weight because very difficult to get results on.
Oh, he's trying to play. He's playing perfect weight, and if he gets it, it'll be magnificent.
Well, trying to get down. He's close to getting the jack here. This is a great effort. That's a well-played bowl. Well done, too.
That's top-notch. That's very good.
Well-played bowl by Colin Williams. And
good shot. I think he's sitting with about 5 now.
No, is it Kimberley?
Oh, he's seen the camera. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Kimberley's? See, I'm so used to playing with Jenny Stockford, and Kimberley's got the same colour bowl.
They are the same, aren't they?
In my head, they were sitting with 5, but one's still better than down, isn't it?
So, Kimberley Hemingway now making her way back to the mat, leading 7-3 as we come to the back end of the 15th of 16 here at the Auckland Bowls Ryman Healthcare 242 mixed pairs at the Howick Bowling Club. Absolutely perfect conditions. Weather's magnificent, as it has been right throughout this event.
Yeah, it's been lovely. It's been lovely sort of tail end to the Nationals for some of the players that would have hung around, not a huge amount. But they did have 96 entries, I think.
They did, 96 entries, which was, there's that little step that we spoke about for you people watching. If you just watch this next bowl of the Tessers, you'll see it get a little bit of a high jump. And just needed to sit under the Kimberley Hemingway bowl and would have counted.
Great effort there. Kimberley on the back end now. More conventional delivery. Following it up.
Well, I'm watching James Williams' hand. He's got the nervous twitches trying to get it to come all the way back, but it always was on that wider side. Just finished slightly, obviously jack level, but definitely on the wide side. And
Tessa on the backhand again. Just needs to make a little correction to her first bowl. It's tracking okay. How's the weight?
Just needs to get in front of this.
Bit of the jack.
Gets a touch on the jack. We'll make a bonus.
Oh, what a shot. Great bowl.
Yeah, that may well have made 3 of it.
So impressed with Tess under pressure. I've watched them next to me as well, but even in that last game we played, that semi-final, under pressure, she just seems to just get down and just...
Certainly did. Well, that bowl on the extra end was a certain evidence of that, wasn't it?
It's going to haunt my nightmares for some time to come, Kev.
Yep, and it was 3.
And what a great shot there. Just moving the jack 6 inches to make the 3, which sort of makes it all tight again, 6-7 after 4.
Anyone's game, and the final of the plate is also underway as well. And we'll get an update on that shortly as for you.
Yeah, I've been quite enjoying listening to Phil and Sandra Taylor play bowls. We shared a green with them at St Heliers in section play. And domestic is too strong a word, but they were having fun having a conversation on the rings.
Were they debating the pros and cons of shots?
I think some of the communication, whilst they felt they were being clear, perhaps wasn't to each other, and it was an enjoyable listen.
So Jack's been delivered right to the 2 metre mark.
Yeah, so Colin will take a lot of green here. This is what he did to us in the semi-final, but it was going back in the other direction. They seemed to quite like a Jack on the 2 metre and the mat quite long. Be unfortunate if this flops into the ditch. He's got a beautiful track.
Perfect track to the centre, and
just out of camera shot, but still that's a reasonable place there, about a metre past.
So James, the lefty, with the scoop delivery.
Yes, he'll take a different green to everyone else.
Yeah, but that is definitely under the line. You can see that's going to move away quite some distance under the line. Virtually head jack level weight.
James's forehand's interesting. His backhand's okay, but when you watch James play his forehand, his hand moves to the left, so he sort of takes it early. His bowl has a big late swing,
which is back to front, and here comes this bowl of Colin Williams. This looks a better bowl, this one, as it comes towards the centre line, and is going to finish just lower the jack. It's about 18 inches. It's a good second bowl.
Very good there. And you just be watching James's bowl come up the rink now on James's backhand and praying that it doesn't get anywhere near it and that Tess can chuck 4 nearby.
Well, this is going to be under the line, and in the final of the plate, it is Dave Akarua who is leading Phil Taylor 9 shots to 5 after 4 of the 16 ends.
14 points in 4 ends. If they keep that up, it's going to be a cricket score.
Yeah.
On both sides.
So here now is Tessa Varley trying to add. So the jack's right on the 2 metre mark, and the shot bowl is about 18 inches lower the jack, but sitting right on that centre line, which creates a challenge. And this bowl more than likely had scoring weight, just slightly.
Yeah, it's a good shot. They're building this head quite well here, Colin and Tessa. So from Kimberley and James's point of view, you look at that, you're 1 down, you've got a second shot reasonable place. You want Kimberley to chuck 4 bowls on the same hand in the same area and then see what the head looks like for James's too.
Well, and you also want to make sure that you get some bowls over the head.
Yes, pass would be good at this point, particularly with this one here, which is just put up a little bit short. So Colin will sniff half a chance, probably keep Tessa on the forehand, which is going to the bowl at about 8 o'clock on the screen.
Just makes it hard, especially with those short bowls that sit right on the centre line.
Don't want to be tight.
No, don't want to be tight. And I'm not going to be hard on the young lady. There's really no need to be tight.
Yeah, it just would have come out of her hand funny, I would think. So she'll be looking to get another one past, but at some point in this head I wouldn't be surprised if Colin and Tessa switch to the backhand, because we've got those 2 sort of catching bowls sitting there of Colin and Tessa's.
They've got the trail sitting there.
Their chance for a score later on in the head.
Yeah, Kimberley Hemingway though, how's the weight going by?
Just passing through there.
Well, now that backhand shot really is really on.
It looks like they're spending 1 more bowl, just setting it up and praying that Kimberley doesn't change anything. On the forehand from Tessa. Looks like it's on a slightly better line than the third bowl, or second bowl, sorry.
Well, if it sits in the port here, which it will.
Yeah, it's a second shot.
That'll count. That's a couple. So Kimberley Hemingway now on her forehand will endeavour to draw it right to the 2 metre mark. They would give a shot. The body language didn't indicate that it had the weight, and it looks, or it might have. No, it was low of weight and not on the line.
Can't say, you might as well chuck another one up on your forehand there to test.
So it's on its way, playing up towards the city end here.
Close here.
This is just inching its way down towards the jack, and that'll certainly count.
Good shot there. Holding 3. Not super close bowls, but there's enough gaps that it's going to be a challenge to get the shot back here, I think, for James and Kimberley.
So Kimberley now going to the backhand, just trying to draw out to where you can see the blue and white bowl of Tessa's bowl and the front bowl of Colin, and it's going to just hang out on the outside. Got a touch.
It was a beautiful weight there from Kimberley. Beautiful dead weight, because as you said before, they don't have actually that much position on this head.
No, they
Kimberley
don't.
and James, so she just had to play that dead weight. She was just trying to draw inside the blue and the white, but it wasn't to be. So it looks like Colin's crossing over, holding 2, and I would expect them to play. I'm not sure what hand I expect them to play. One of them.
Could be 3, in fact. Definitely 2.
It looks like he's lining up on his forehand.
So on the forehand is Colin Williams from the Point Chevalier Club, who of course won his way through into this final with his other player Tessa Farley when they beat Alex Reid and Jenny Stopford on an extra in. And Howes just doesn't want to move the jack around there.
That was all kinds of stressful, but he's finished okay. So they're holding the 2 there. And I think it's probably, I'm not sure, the head's different now. James's shot certainly changed.
Well, it only leaves him one shot option, really.
What's his oomph like? Oh, he's on his forehand.
Well, he's not. He's playing on his forehand, but we'd have to reach up. Difficult to get a dead draw on there through those bowls.
This will be an absolute screamer if he gets a shot out of this. If he picks that gap.
Because that's all there is, that narrowest of narrowest gaps,
Yeah.
and the bowl's going to sit down, lower the jack. So Tessa Farley indicating to Colin, preferably a wee bit more green than the last one.
Yeah, green would not go amiss in this situation.
And just endeavour to get past it.
Oh, his forehand he is. Just looking to break underneath Kimberley's bowl that you could nearly see underneath Tessa's elbow pretty much. If he's got the weight right, this is super close.
Well, that was a very, very good attempt, because if he'd had the weight and got round that bowl of Tessa Farley's, he would go close to adding another counter. So
Beautiful arc. It's Kimberley. It looks like she thinks there might be half a plant on. She just pointed at her bowl to go onto Tessa's. She perhaps thinks it's going to take off Collins as well.
hard shot.
It's very difficult,
There's
particularly
a bit of room in
they aren't
between the
touching,
bottom.
so he has to get it absolutely square.
There's a bit of room in between those bowls as we
Wouldn't
watch
get lucky,
this
would he?
bowl of Kimberley. It's gone by that bowl, and 2 it is.
8-7 now after 6 ends. It's a very even game at the moment.
So we saw the Williams-Hemingway combination jump out after 2 ends, scored a 5-2. Colin Williams and Tessa have just stayed to their role, and Jack's been delivered.
Tessa looking like she's going to lead off on her backhand, so she must have picked that side of the rink, I think.
We'll give it a breeze down that end as well.
Yeah, funnels through.
Where that the end of the clubhouse there, you get some wind that funnels through there. As you watch this bowl
Good
of
shot.
Tessa Farley just going by, just literally jack level.
It's very good. How long have you been, we talk about forehand and backhand a lot because that's bowls speak. I suppose to explain that to anyone, because I was talking to someone before, I can't remember who it was, but I talk in forehand and backhand all the time when I play bowls, and I just confused them. I don't know how not to talk in forehand and backhand. So
Yeah, it's a bit difficult, but you know what, you could say, look.
I don't know another word. Backhand's across your body, forehand's
correct.
away.
Absolutely. And for the layperson watching, that's really the easiest way to describe it. Backhand is if you're playing across your body. Forehand is if you're playing out from your body. That's,
So for a right-hander, that's to your left because that's the way your hand goes, across to your left, and to your right, it's your forehand. I taught myself backhand and forehand when I was about 12, Kev, because I was talking to a guy from indoor called Paul Basala, who's won, 10 national titles or something. And he was explaining a game of bowls that he'd played to me, and he was using forehand and backhand. I couldn't visualise it in my head, and I was too scared to ask him what he meant. So I went and asked someone else afterwards, and it's been stuck in my head since then.
Well, because we used to use salt and pepper shakers to do that.
We still do.
As we saw there, Kimberley, the second bowl, drew the shot and behind the jack, right on the tee.
Colin here lining up on his forehand, that's interesting.
And of course, this coverage is available on the Auckland Bowls website. And, this looks as a good line here. Alex, how's the rate?
Weight,
how far is it going to run?
Needs to rest the bowl.
It's a magnificent
What
bowl.
a shot there from
That's
Colin.
a great bowl from Colin Williams.
Cool under pressure.
It's amazing now, that isn't it, Alex? And you've been around long enough now that when you consider, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, where we started doing sort of live streaming, and to where we are now.
Yeah.
It's
It's incredible. I'm not even sure if it's been 5 or 6 years. I can remember watching the first one you commentated on. You were in Dunedin, I
We
think.
were, yes.
I watched that as a keen bowls watcher, and I think you had one phone, and it was at the clubhouse, and I got to watch, like, I don't know, from a distance, 2-4s games go on and some singles or whatever. And
Yeah, I think that was...
I was excited with that.
that might have been Tamara's first outing. She nods to me. And it was. And, thanks to, the enthusiasm of Bowls New Zealand, Mark Cameron, the CEO, and Erin and Tamara, it's built and worked with the Australians, of course, with Ben Slater. And if we now look around the world about the coverage, right now, for example, the World Indoor at Potters, you can go anytime on and you can watch that.
Yep.
The Queensland Bowls Premier League, that's on there all the time. Although last week's got called off because of the COVID thing in Queensland. So there's...
No, it's amazing. It's staggering to me in a good way that Bowls New Zealand now has the ability to literally produce, like our nationals that we just had last week. That's literally good enough to go on the actual television.
Yeah,
that's produced entirely in-house, and I think that's an incredible effort.
And this is another good bowl here.
Great shot. What a switch, because he switched to his backhand with that shot.
Didn't want to get his green line put off by coming under the James Williams bowl, which could have just nipped him across the centre line.
James on his backhand here. It looks wide at a glance, but I can't remember how much his bowl swing, and it could be some considerable distance.
Well, the bowls that did swing this morning were the bowls of Karen de Jongs.
Yes, ABT.
They really swung.
She's had them. I believe that her father, whose name has escaped
Josh de Jong.
Her dad and her mum went to Australia a number of years ago, maybe 20 years ago or something, and brought her back that set of bowls, and that's the ones that she plays with.
Still plays with today. Of course, Josh, has reached 3 figures now.
Yep, incredible effort.
And up until, 15, 18 months ago, we're still having a roll up at Pukekohe. And, Josh de Jong, and this is badly underlined. And Josh de Jong, talk about fortuitous there.
You'll be pleased with that. Looking like they're still holding 1.5 to 2.
1.5, but it was looking really good. And James was way off target there, got the back of the bowl, rolled it in for shot. But in the old days, when we had like the grass greens and at Mission Base and Helliers, where they're up around 20, 21 seconds, Vic McLean, Josh de Jong, they were legends in their own right, and they were certainly Josh de Jong. Well, Gold Star hold it in Auckland.
Yeah, no, it's great to see, and it's great to see those family sort of dynasties sort of continue through as well, because Karen, a very decorated bowler in her own right as well.
Gold Star in her own right.
Mm-hmm. I think she won the Taranaki Women's Fours a couple of years ago.
Yes, she did play with Debbie White.
No, incredible. I've played with her once in outdoor and a couple of times in indoor. We lost the Waikato Centre Fours final this year just gone in indoor bowls, Karen and myself and 2 others.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So here's now Kimberly Hemingway, definitely at least 1 down on the head, and of course leading now 8-7, and this needs to get right down to the jack. Gets a feather.
What a feather.
Is
it going to stop?
It was a fortuitous feather, that. And the thing for Tessa now, just stay out, hold that line out to the Colin Williams bowl.
On the backing, let it go with a little bit of a dump, so I'm not sure if it's going to make it.
It's not going to.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You can literally guarantee you get that little dump that you're going to drop a metre.
It's gutting when you're a player and you feel it happen.
Can't get it back. So endeavouring to play through the port on the forehand is Kimberly Hemingway, with weight trying to reach to the shot bowl, the Colin Williams bowl. That's on the wide side. There'll be no feather there.
No, she wasn't short. Looks like a couple there.
There's two.
Two there, so that's 10-7 now after 7 ends of the prescribed 16. I think they've given an extra hour or something in this final.
I believe so. I believe so. I hope they don't need it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we don't get 16 ends and something's gone horribly, horribly wrong.
So we'll cut to a commercial whilst they're delivering the jack.
Are you ready? Yeah! All right, here we go. Everybody, get on up and do your stuff. You better get up. Take the rub off the floor. We're gonna groove right here a little bit more. Do your stuff. Don't be so rough. But you got to be tough when you do your stuff.
So here we are, right back to the action. Straight away we see the continuation. Colin Williams draws Justin behind the jack to the centre line. See the jack's slightly low of the 2 metre line. And does appear, Alex, there up to that 2 metre mark is sort of like the favoured length now, isn't it? Yeah.
That's where they appear to be chucking it, and chucking it pretty well. Good bowl there. Good reply there from James, actually, because it's sort of, when you're playing that, it's Colin's had to switch to his backhand now. It's in your line. You can't really draw the shot around a bowl that's a foot and a little bit short, so it makes it look a little bit more daunting from the mat side, and Colin's subsequently switched to his backhand.
And this is a pretty good opening line, just not going to run all the way, is it? Yes, it is.
Has it got the oomph?
Yes, it is. It's going to sit in front of the James Williams bowl, and that's two well-played bowls from Colin Williams, now leading 10-7 as we play end 8.
James on his forehand, down a similar track, but he does his bowls hook away on his forehand, so the question is how long is it going to hold up for? He's watching it, and there's the hook away that he gets. A little bit stiff there, half bowl wide. It was a good shot.
The left-hander can, of course, get away a wee bit on the backhand with that narrow, that slightly narrower line. But it's our story. It's our story in the forehand. The minute that hand moves inwards, doesn't matter whether right or left-handed, the chances are that your bowl is actually going to go under the line.
Dives away,
and especially on a green like this, like being under the line on a starweed composite green is certainly not the best remedy. So Tessa,
beautiful track. I think if it's got the oomph. No, just a little bit high and dry there. Kimberly, I would expect on her backhand. Again, you've got 4 bowls. 2-4-2 is interesting because you always get 4 bowls in the middle.
Correct.
So you expect them to be, they should be effective, and they should be well grouped in a perfect world. Kimberly on the backhand. Beautiful track there. I'm not sure what the oomph is like. Just falling that little bit short. It's important that Tessa gets one close because they're building that up nicely there, James and Kimberly.
So here is the bowl of Tessa Farley. And this isn't a bad line. It just more than likely got a bit of thick running in it. But
yeah, I think it's a bit fast there.
But that's okay. It's just gone past the 2 metre mark. So Kimberly Hemingway now on her forehand. And how far is it going to come back? It's on a good line.
Trying its very best here if it pulls up quick enough. That was super close to the shot.
Great attempt. Yeah. Colin Williams just indicating to Tessa. You sort of think she's going to fly off the mat.
Yeah. With a bit of a spring and a step.
And again, this is on a good line. This bowl, if it sits on the Kimberly Hemingway bowl, this is a very, very good bowl.
Good shot.
That's well played by Tessa Farley, and just sort of makes the trail shot that much more difficult on the backhand as Kimberly Hemingway. 2 down at least, trailing 10-7. And again, this is another good attempt, but is it going to hold up under the... No, it's not. Would need to get a round bowl. Not going to. So Alex has
Yes.
now got cold water,
Yep.
a tip-top Sunday.
Yep.
Is there anything else we can get you?
Well, you could have got me a win in the semi-final, but that's up to me, I think.
Okay, you can take blame for that one. So here is Tessa Farley again. This is another good bowl, and it's not going to quite run it. The good.
I'd be real stressed if I was Colin, because James's red bowl is touching Colin's white one. Like any connection there.
Yes, it is.
Stressy times.
So on the backhand is Kimberly Hemingway. How far is this going to come back? Has it got the weight though to come all the way back?
Yeah.
No, it
If
hasn't.
she'd just be able to reach Colin's back bowl, James would have been going there, I think, but I'm not quite sure if it's so on at the moment. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose.
Well, you could just about be a wee bit adventurous, and because where the front bowls are, that while the Kimberly Hemingway's in the front, you could just about play with searching weight to get down to. James could get down to his bowl, and the Collins Williams bowl would actually just jar straight out of the head.
Cannon straight out of the head, and that red bowl probably isn't going anywhere if you're playing with that sort of weight.
Well, it's sort of locked in on top, isn't it?
Mm. Colin opting to play his backhand here.
So here is Colin Williams on the backhand, leading 10-7 as we come to the back end of the 8th end. And this is out on that wider side.
Slightly overplayed, but it's going to finish in an
That's
place.
absolutely fine.
Yeah.
In there, sits in amongst, it matches the bowls up, and we'll see what, and that looks exactly what we spoke about.
Yep, taking it under the line on his backhand, so it should hold.
Trying to get that jar.
It should hold here. It's coming across the head though.
More than likely needs to be a yard quicker.
It's a little bit more because this bowl it's not going anywhere, so he can afford to be into that.
The best result is certainly with a wee bit more weight and up to the head, because, as rightly said by Alex, his bowl's not going to go anywhere. And so, my view, it's a good bowl, because if he plays the shot we're talking about, it will just shunt out of the head cleanly. Needs another yard of weight, and I think he's given that. Looked like it out of the hand.
Got a chance. He's following it up. He likes this one. How quickly is it going to break?
Oh, it's the jar that we spoke about, but the jar had to be without touching anything else.
Just about. A little shake of the head, a little bit of disappointment there shown by James Williams. He played that really well. I was just having a look. I'm not sure if James, all the other players, actually I'm not sure about Kimberley either. Well, I know that Colin has won centre title for Auckland. Won the triples last year, and Tessa won the open fours this year. Kimberley, we know, is in the Auckland singles final. And I know James has gone really close in a few the time I've been here. I'm not sure if he's won a centre title yet, and this is a cold start event. So if he does win, it'll be a big win for all of them, really, wouldn't it?
I'm sure James would love to tell us.
Yeah. I can't ask him from this.
No, but mind you, I was a bit whether could you hear some of our 11-7? I make it now 11-7.
11-7 is right.
11-7 after 8. Could you hear our commentary down on the green?
Not really.
But I just noticed a few times Colin was waving out.
Oh, yeah, we just thought we'd wave. I wanted to know who you thought had the shot on one of the ends, but you didn't.
Oh, well. So, Tessa Farley's again come back to the centre line, but slightly low of it. Good opening bowl here from Kimberly Hemingway, and will sit just slightly higher the jack, but in a good position and playing down towards the Maraete end here, the eastern end.
How's the omp on this one? It's got a lovely track. It's a shorter end than what they have been playing, so it shouldn't take quite as much green. Handy there.
So here now is Kimberly Hemingway. A good delivery, very smooth delivery has the New Zealand former age group player. How far is it going to come back? So
Happy enough for that. That's a reasonable start from the leads, but barring Tess's slightly short bowl. You got 4 bowls sort of in the area. It's something to work with.
So we've just completed the halfway mark.
Colin now on his forehand, I think he's lining up on, so he's looking at the bowl at 9 o'clock. There's a jack.
So on the forehand, and
it's on a good track. It's down to
this
the
is on a
oomph
good
now.
track. This bowl. This is on a good track. Has it got far
just
enough?
A little bit short.
So Kimberly Hemingway indicating it's still 1 to James Williams, and Kimberly Hemingway just needed another roll of weight, would have made shot out of it.
James on his forehand, looking for that late swing. Just a little bit too much oomph there, I think. Again, not a horrible place for the bowl to finish.
And Tessa Farley just indicating to Colin, literally another couple of rolls. Again, he's got this out on a good line. This bowl's on a very good line. How's the weight? No, just going to
Square.
Turns it over. That would do for shot. Yes, it is.
Yep, enough. 2 rolls. 2 rolls for 1. Must mean he had good weight.
So 11-7 as we play the 9th end. Kimberly Hemingway watching this bowl as it breaks in towards the head. This is a great attempt here.
Sits down, it'll be close to 1.
You're right, if it fell over, it would be shot.
And Colin still staying on his forehand. It's that bowl of Kimberley's is jack level, so it's reasonably safe. You'd be super unlucky if you managed to roll that in a couple to drop 1, so he just needs to keep the same weight and adjust his green for this bowl.
So he's going to get into his own bowl, turn his own bowl over cleanly.
Oh, that went well.
And still just the 1, but that's a good home where the bowl's gone to.
It's an exceptional bit of ice cream that Steve Clifton bought me.
Oh,
Kev.
there we go. I'm pleased to hear that, mate. You need it.
I'm pleased.
Oh, this is a good attempt here. If it gets on the... has to get past
what
it.
an effort. Is it going to sit against the bias? Nah, not quite. Sometimes you find that in starweed. So a little
Yes,
bit
it will.
bumpy,
And it'll roll back the other way. Yeah.
Sits against the bias. It's either good or bad depending on what side you're on sometimes. And Colin switching to his backhand now. It's James's last bowl. Clearly a foot or 2 shorter than the other one. That track's a bit clogged.
So...
oh, he's running up after the bowl. That's like it.
Well, it looks are on the wider side, but if he's past the jack, it's no problem.
I hate following up bad bowls, Kev.
Yeah, it's...
Peter Sane will tell you never follow up a rubbish bowl.
We won't go there.
James on his forehand underneath the line there. Didn't let that one go as smooth as he would have
No,
liked.
that sort of fell out of the hand, didn't it, really? And Ryman, thank you to Ryman for their support. Great support of Auckland Bowls. They do a stellar job. And thank you for their support.
Absolutely. I like their advertising campaign they've got at the moment with them saying, what is it like? I can't remember. So I mustn't like it very much. It was funny, I thought. I thought it made a good point. I'm looking around for a poster for their slogan.
Well, there's lots of...
Old is the new black. Yes, that
Right.
sounds right. I thought that was very clever. I thought someone should give themselves a pat on the shoulders.
There's a number of bowlers who around the country that I know of are in Ryman villages and enjoy their life there.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose it's Robbie soon, will it?
You tell me, Kev. Kimberly on her forehand here. She's looking for some connection. She needs to hit something.
Rock the bowl.
Oh, not quite enough. So no change there to the head.
Martin and I hope there's a few more years yet before we are in the bingo hall.
And Tessa on the back, cutting across on the backhand. She could get lucky with an inside out, but hasn't done so.
They do a wonderful job, Ryman.
And Kimberley on the forehand. Got to give herself a chance here. She'll look to just arrive through that head. There's bowls left, right and centre, and they've got enough of them to make something good happen. On her forehand she is. Needs it to start breaking. Needs it to start breaking any time. Looks like it's just going to drift past.
Well,
She got
rocks
her
it,
bowl.
turns it over.
Could be one, one there, one to Kimberley and James. It wasn't lucky, but it was probably the least likely result that she could have got there. Reaching up on the forehand for a good result.
Well, it was in the target area, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a lucky bowl. She chucked it in the area. That's what we were talking about a few ends ago. You know, you don't have to. It's not about being able to play a perfect bowl every time. It's about being able to put your bowl in a 2 or 3 feet target area with nice weight. And if you can do that, you'll get more good results than bad.
Well,
you can sort of chug along like that.
It's actually really about James. So Alex getting those.
James is my second name. It's okay.
Fine. It's about getting those effective bowls in what I call the meter.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about. It's 11-8 now to Colin Williams and Tessa Farley over James Williams and Kimberley Hemingway. And of course, Hemingway and Williams earlier defeated Teo Teruap and Agnes Modu in their semi-final. And Colin Williams and Tessa Farley.
Do you have to keep saying that, Kev? Do you have to?
Well, defeating the other combination that they defeated, who also wore Point Chevalier shirts.
Yeah, that's better. I can cope with that more. It's interesting. We see here that James Williams has put the mat in pretty much the same place it's always been, and chucked the jack to pretty much the same place we've seen it at coming in this direction. I wouldn't have been surprised to see a change up in length.
Well, I think the thing is on greens like this as well is, I think once you know you've got some sort of comfort within a couple of metres, you can. And seriously, I saw it happen in the Nationals, and it worked, and it doesn't work very often. And it was in the semi-final of the Peers when John Carruthers and Mike Bradshaw up against Dan Dickinson and Nick Tomsett. And John Carruthers delivered the jack on the last end just over the minimum length, and which is an exceptionally hard length to play to.
Yes.
And an exceptionally hard length to play to when you're at the last end of a very tense game or a very close game. And full marks to John Carruthers of the Royal Oak Club, because he actually drew 3 bowls very, very adjacent on that last end, putting the pressure on Dan Dickinson. And they elected. It's ironical that they elected till the 18th end, really,
to change something,
to change it around. And
it can be a bit of a gamble when you pull a short end up. It can work as much for you as it does against you, but sometimes change is not a bad thing.
Well, I said to Brennan Van Nistelrooy, in the commentary, I said, well, this is real suicide stuff. It could be, but it worked their advantage, and well played by Kimberley Hemingway. Draws right to the tee on the centre line.
Great shot there, and Tessa on her forehand. Underneath Collins bowls a lovely little track, that bowl that sits at 9 o'clock. You just want to just clear that and you'll be in close.
It's a great it's a great port down through there. And just tightened the line up slightly, but you're right, Alex, that's where that is, just inside the 9 o'clock bowl.
Kimberley on her backhand now, looking just to back up what she did with her first one. And this is what we can see if she gets this one close. We can see sometimes in 2-4-2, you find your bowl with your first one, and Kimberley's quite capable, and so is everyone in this post-section draw. They just go, and there's 4. Suddenly you fall down on the crossover as the other skip, because
absolutely
your position is chucked 4 within 3 feet. Didn't back up my point then with that second bowl, but that's it. It stands, I think.
So Tessa Farley's on that. She got the weight on that good line that we spoke about, Alex. It looks to me as it has, and that was that line that we spoke about. It was certainly there.
Yeah.
Finishes jack level.
And a good shot. I think she's probably holding one there, the way it looks, peering out the window.
As you look out there now, yes, you can. It would be, you would think, the shot.
Just a bowl past the jack it is. Oh, there's a bowl that sat down. Kimberly's second one, and her third one. Does she have the weight? There's a bit of weight. It should swing at the end on her backhand. Not going to do so. That can be frustrating.
So here now is Tessa Farley.
Very big bowl here. She's let it go. It looks tight at a glance.
It does look tight out of the hand, to be fair, Alex, unless it gets her own bowl, turns her own bowl into the head and got the slide. Well, that was a wee bit fortuitous.
Yeah, it could have gone worse, to be fair, couldn't it?
That was a...
The thing here is Colin and Tess have got no back bowls at all. And it does, I mean, there's enough gaps there that if Kimberly and James went searching, they could easily find a gap and drop a number, but that's still, it's a concern, I would say.
Well, it was just indicated by James Williams that, yes, that they didn't have anything over the head, and he's riding this bowl as it breaks down towards the head. Looks under the jack, though.
Close.
Is it going to sit on the Tessa Farley bowl? Yes, it does.
Yeah. I really like the weight that Kimberly played that bowl with. A lot of people, it would be easy to miss that heavy, and it would be easy to then end up achieving nothing. But she played it with nice weight.
Not easy to play, you know, and hold your bowl on the line. So here's now Tessa Farley.
She needs to be careful. Needs to be careful not to get the jack. Needs to be careful.
And does get the jack, but could you be more fortunate with the jack?
She followed through lovely. And we can see now, just at a camera shot, that Tessa has a bowl, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches away. So that's gone really, really well. That's about as good as it can go if you're going to be playing a little reiki bowl on the forehand.
Absolutely. Just managed to move the jack just around the corner.
I would have been in full panic if I was Colin, but they obviously had it totally under control.
Yeah, well, he's quite happy now because got one, must be two, would be two. So here's James Williams trying to get to the shot bowl.
On his backhand, he's chasing it. He could run 100 metres pretty quickly there.
Oh, he's close, I can tell you that, and get the jack or sit on the bowl. How's that for a bowl?
What a bowl.
How's that?
That was top notch. That was pretty good. He needs to just go back and catch his breath now.
Just came through that port with perfect weight to reach it, turned it over and sat just alongside the jack, just behind it. And for Colin Williams now.
It's such an important bowl of James in the context of the game as well. He's 3 down on the
Absolutely.
card, 2 down on the head. You've got 6 ends to go. He dropped a 2 here. It's starting to look a little bit stressy, but he's got himself right back in it if Colin can't salvage the situation.
Well, you start to be on the chasing ends a bit early, really.
So Colin on the probe.
He doesn't like it. You can tell by the body language. Delivery point, he didn't like that.
Oh, I've seen better efforts.
11-8 as we come to the end of the 10th of 16 ends. After that great bowl from James Williams, it was certainly...
Following it down again on his backhand. Looks a bit quicker this time. He's going to need to get a bit of luck.
And he does, but more than likely will go too far and finish... Oh, may not, in fact.
This is when you say sorry. Nah.
No, because that was certainly...
I think it's just the one. I think it's okay. And may as well have another nibble, I think, Colin. He could play it with a bit more control. You just need to swing around that front stuff. That's a
he's
much
watching
better
this
effort.
bowl this closely, getting down to the James Williams bowl. And
What
got
a
the bowl
shot.
clean. What a bowl. What a bowl from Colin Williams.
Yeah, good bowl. He played that with much nice weight. He gave his bowl a chance to turn a little bit, which is what he needed. He needed to be going for a bowl if he was wide the jack at that point. So that's a good shot there. There's been some pressure points in this game.
Well, the other thing about that particular bowl, Alex, he really delivered it on the line.
Yes.
There's no, he didn't waver off his arm at all. It was very, very much straight off the front of the mat, like that golf swing, and just followed that line, and just means with that weight, just going to hold the bowl up.
Absolutely.
And he got the bowl clean out of the head, and now goes to a 12-8 lead after 10 completed ends of 16.
6 ends to go. We've had 19 points scored. 20 points scored in 10 ends. So it's average of 2 an end. It's a sign of a pretty tight game there, I think.
It's tight, all right. And we see the first bowl of Tessa Farley's just dropping over the back of the head, but
lovely weight, but just got caught out in the rough.
so here we see Tessa Farley on that favoured in the backhand.
Tracking pretty reasonable if she's got the weight, I think. Just drifting past there. Holding 2 at the moment. That's not horrible. It's 2 pretty reasonable bowls. They can be used later on.
But coming back towards the centre line, over the head, but back onto the centre or close to the centre line. And the good thing is, from their point of view, with holding the lead, Alex, it is putting pressure. When you're not holding the shot, it is putting pressure. Well, I've got to get close. I've got to, and responding well as Kimberly Hemingway. Look at this. Kimberly Hemingway just draws right in behind the jack.
There's plenty of fight left in this game, I feel. The score is 12-8 to Colin after 10 ends. 6 to go.
So is this your first
1
venture to the
down.
Taranaki Open Fours?
Second venture. I've been once before in my second year of bowls. Second. I don't know. I've been playing for a little bit. Out of the Gate Park Club, I played with Nicholas Tomset, Bevan Coleman, and Andre Hudson from the Gate Park Club, and we stayed at one of Andre's family batches. So his the grandparents and the family had passed away and left the house to the family. It's just, I can't even remember where we stayed. It was a very old house on a very small section, and the family kept it as a time capsule from the late 80s it was.
Really?
We walked in, and in the hallway there was a little sign saying "Don't stand here," and apparently the floor was gone. So it was an experience. It was a very interesting time, but I enjoyed it. I think we qualified, and we might have gone 1 round, we might not have. I can't recall.
But you enjoyed it?
Yes, yeah. We played at Waitra on the last day against Dean Elgar to qualify, I think, is my one recollection of that. And I'm pretty sure I put Jack in the ditch like 2 or 3 times to help that happen. So I was pretty chuffed with myself. And then I probably played rubbish in the post-section games. Fair effort there from Colin. That was good weight, just a bit underneath the line, drawing another second shot. So Colin's got 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and Kimberly's bowl sitting at 6 o'clock holding 1.
Waitra, in fact, I don't know about now, used to have one of the quicker greens around.
Yeah, it wasn't quick that day, I don't think. I'm not sure. Is Waitra still a club?
Yes, it is.
Cool, that's good. I'm pleased to hear it.
There used to be 2 clubs in Waitra, one called Clifton Park, up the top of the hill by the Waitra High School, and the Waitra Club down by the old, what used to be Borthwick's Freezing Works.
Fair effort here from Colin.
Just got to get back a wee bit further. Great effort.
Yeah, gave that every chance. As a player, you can't be too disappointed with that sort of bowl. You've given it every chance to do what it needs to do, and it just hasn't quite happened there. But he'd back himself with must be his 3rd bowl.
Well, you're only 1 bowl away from the perfect result.
Yeah. James Williams on his forehand, so he's trying to cover those 2 bowls of Collins that we can see at 4 and 5.
And needs to get under clean. Not going to.
Fair effort, but just a little bit short. So here's Colin. You want to put the knife into the back and twist it. You move the jack 2 feet for 3.
Correct. It's a great opportunity to reach the jack, get a turn onto the jack.
Sort of bowl you chase up if you're close, Colin.
And you'd know halfway down. And
come on, don't have disappointed us.
This is a good attempt. This is a great attempt here. There's a wonderful attempt here.
What a shot there from Colin Williams. I mean, if I was being picky, I'd say it's not perfect because he hasn't moved it for 3. But
well, it's a front toucher.
That's pretty good.
11 ends.
James Williams on his forehand now. He's
under
just
the
looks
line.
like he's going to duck away. Easy to do. Probably lacking a little bit of both, I think.
Well, it's the old story. It's when you try unintentionally, but when you steer under the line from the mat point, unless you've got a lot of weight, it's certainly not going to hold up in your favour. So 16 ends in this final. The Auckland Bowls, Ryman Healthcare 242, mixed pairs. And 16 ends, and we're coming to the back end of end 11 with Colin Williams and Tessa Farley of the Point Chevalier Club here in Auckland, leading James Williams and Kimberly Hemingway 12 shots to 8 in the plate. There is 9 ends gone, and it is David Akaroa who is leading Phil.
Watch out, Tess.
Whoa,
that's a heartbreak.
That's a heartbreak. Got the back of the jack under the line. 12-9, Dave Akaroa leading after 9 ends. 12-9 over Phil Taylor. And that was...
I mean, she didn't play it horribly. Probably look. I didn't watch. I was looking away when they were talking through the shot. But if she had bumped it with that weight, it's a 3. But it hurts when you slice the jack back to drop a 1. She'll be motivated to fix it with her next bowl, I think.
So, what's the opportunity? Interesting to see where the jack lies in relation to the charcoal bowl in the middle.
Looks like it. Oh, this could be interesting.
Is it going to be a replay of the photo? No, it's not.
I think the jack's almost locked straight on to Kimberly's bowl that we can
So,
see.
yeah, coming to have a look, because the other thing is that, you could squeeze onto that front bowl, move the jack still into that port.
Yeah, exactly. The white bowl that you can see at 12 o'clock, it would be no more than a foot away from the jack. You play 4 rolls onto that. Yeah, Colin's calling it there. Jack pops over there. You sit with 4. It's a perfect bowl for Tessa, actually. It's not that dissimilar to the bowl she played to win the semi-final, just a bit less weight. But you're still looking at a bowl square to pop the jack out the side.
Well, that's playing it that way is going to virtually not guarantee, but give you a really good chance that that's where the jack's going to go, into where that nest of 4 bowls are.
Absolutely. Big bowl here. This is how you redeem yourself on her forehand. Lining up on the mat, and she's let it go. Now the question is, how close is she? I'm not sure.
Wide.
Off that one, Kev.
Need to get it on the inside.
Imagine if she hit it in for 2.
But, look, it's 1 down, but, they gave it a best shot.
Yeah, it was
not
an
an easy shot to play, that reaching shot. And a bit unlucky, but who knows, they might have got the shot anyway. So
Colin picking up the mat. To hand it to James, I would presume. It should be a 1 there to James and Kimberly to make the score 12-9 after 11 ends.
So 11 ends gone in this Ryman Healthcare 242 Auckland Bowls mixed pairs final between Colin Williams and Tessa Farley of Point Chevalier up against James Williams and Kimberly Hemingway of the Carlton Cornwall Club. And 12-9 after 11 of the 16 ends. Jack's been delivered just under
that similar
2
spot
metre
again.
at similar spot.
And fair enough, it's been even. We can look 19 points scored, or more than 19 points scored. What is it? 21 points
21
scored
points
and 11
scored.
ends. It's just been nice and even. So both teams would be reticent. I don't think there's a team there that needs to change the length.
Great bowl by James. Toucher.
Because as you say, it's a bit of a risk, isn't it? They're both playing well enough to score 1s and 2s all the time. If you move it, you might drop a 4 or 5.
Absolutely.
Colin on his forehand now. He'll want to be passed with his first bowl. You want to be passed with your first one if you're down. Not too far past.
Oh, well, that's under.
It's a lovely weight for a back toucher, but he probably was looking for a little bit more of both things there, I think.
Well, they've got to be prepared to.
James, that one go like a pineapple. And it looks like it could be close. On his backhand, breaking into the head. Absolutely lovely here. It's drawn 2 good bowls. Second one finishing slightly jack low. It'll allow Colin to aim a little bit wider.
Well, it does give him a good sighter.
Absolutely. Colin's looking down at his feet for a second, so I don't know if that means if he was Joe Edwards, I'd be excited, but he isn't. And that's not his tell for a good bowl. And enough of it stops. Yeah,
it'll stay up there, so
Got the Collins Bowl at 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock, and the two closer ones there of James. So Tessa's job, she'll probably chuck 4 balls down on the forehand, and you just try and develop the head a little bit. You're not worried about getting the shot. 4 balls down on the forehand. Try and get inside that outside bowl of James's, and then Colin can use his two to do good things. Kimberly lining up on her backhand now. Earning heavy with the first bowl. Reasonable track there. Still looks reasonable, to be fair.
Was going to
Just
step away, and
more track, I think, more shoulders there for Tess to use on the forehand.
so Colin Williams just indicating to Tessa, just drawing the port between the two Burgundy James Williams bowls, and you won't be far away, but it's going to slide in under the head.
Yeah,
and of course the danger here, Alex, is you don't try and play under the line to get through to the bowl. Just let the bowl work. You know, the visual target is actually the second shot bowl, the jack level bowl. That's where you want to be aiming at, but of course you've got another 3 bowls.
Yeah, it's not stressy yet, but these are the sort of ends that you can blink and they turn to
Absolutely.
not being so pretty in a heartbeat. So Tess will just make a correction now on her forehand. Her weight would have been, looks like it was pretty good because it finished sort of level with the jack.
Yeah,
so
weight wasn't bad at all.
give a ball a chance to break back into the head. It looks a little... Oh, she's got weight. What do I know? I'll wait until the bell's finished.
This is close. Just going to go by on one outside the bowl.
Fair effort there from Tess.
It would still be at least a couple that the Williams Hemingway side are holding. On the backhand is Kimberly Hemingway.
Steering down that bowl. She's got the weight. It's very, very close here, and the pressure just keeps getting added on and on. But she's going to get... Oh, she tackled herself. That's hurtful.
So just give yourself another...
Yeah, don't get too... Colin's just probably trying to communicate not to get too concerned about this head. You know you've got the back bowlers, but it's not a pretty... It just doesn't look pretty. You
just give yourself another bowl of width.
Now's not a panic moment.
And this is going to come outside the counting bowls and go towards the back. Well, that's not all bad, but...
Yeah, it's not bad. It just doesn't look like a head with the jack moves back super easy. I know it's not that far away from James's front one, but it just looks like it would be easier to get unlucky if you play with weight here.
Well, it's one of those heads as well, Alex, that you make sure you get second shot and then worrying about
second shot first, yeah, then you can look to develop.
Worrying about what you're going to play after that, because you say... All of a sudden, you can be looking at four down, although
that's a good shot there.
They've been let a wee bit off on that regard. So
Colin just calling the same shot again on the forehand. And Tessa hasn't been a million miles away with any of her bowls, to be fair. That one came out a bit funny.
Well, I don't know about the weight with this one.
I think it's tight. It's just going to need to go inside out off another bowl.
Didn't like it out of the hand at all. So, it's 3. So, big bowl required here from Colin Williams, because this is sort of when the door gets half open.
Stressy times, the psychology of the thing. If James and Kimberly are able to hold on to this 3, and even add to it they're the ones that have the momentum going into those last 4 ends that we'll be playing.
Correct.
16 end game it is.
So back to the mat is James Williams.
On his forehand by the looks. Nope. Oh.
Well, there's a bit of...
That's interesting. On his forehand again. Very distinctive style there. Sort of scoopy on the forehand.
Got the late scoop.
Lets it go smooth, but his bowl has a different breaking point to everyone else. This will swing real late. Doesn't have the weight for it.
Not going to have the weight to get there. So, Colin, you've seen enough bowls come up on that forehand side. Know where you've got to draw to.
Let it go smooth. That's a good start. Following the bowl down. He looks like he's playing... What sort of weight's he playing that with?
It's got
to be close-ish.
Got to be under
Close-ish,
to get
yeah.
second. And well, that's what you.
Good shot. That's a good bowl.
That's what you wanted. Second shot.
Second shot. You drop a 1, it's fine. You know, fishing's all good. And it has opened up the opportunity now for Colin to be a little bit more aggressive if he feels like it.
So now we've got James William playing his last bowl on end 12
Caught the rough
of 16. And so...
Done nothing there. Sort of come across the centre line a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what shot Colin opts for here. He's looking, to play with nice weight. It'd be nicer if his bowl was locked onto that red.
Well, he just play. Look, even if he got the inside slide off his own jack low pole, which is second shot, there's every chance that it could manoeuvre its way towards the jack. But he was 3 down, so it was well played to get to second shot. So here he is now on the mat. There's Colin Williams, but a very good bowl with his first on this, coming to the end of the 12th end. And again, sterling effort.
What a try.
Great effort.
2 very, very good bowls. So, what's the score now, Kev?
12-10.
12-10. And what was our last update on the plate? I've forgotten.
It was...
Something else.
It was...
Find the bit of paper.
12-9.
12-9 to Dave Akaruru after 9 ends in the plate. That's a couple of ends more have happened. Then we'll get an update at some point. Please.
So Mike Martha's just going to go out. Thank you. And get that update. So Jack's been delivered.
Shorter than what we've had, so it's the first
certainly
team.
Is.
If it's on purpose or not, who knows, but it's a shorter end than what we've been seeing, and it'll be really interesting to see the first team that jumps onto this. Can't believe watching her bowl intently. Let it go on the forehand. She doesn't look chuffed.
Well, this is when you've got to watch your bowl closely,
Yes, it's very important.
Alex, because you're playing, in fact, a 2 metre different weight or length.
Yeah.
And it's not about altering your line a lot, but it's just that psychological difference.
Yeah, your track is a bit different. You know, the shorter the end, the slightly less green you have to take, and vice versa. But you have to be quite focused. It's one thing I was lucky. The first time around when I played outdoor when I was a kid and I was coached, they hammered it into me that I was to stand on the mat and watch my bowl until it was complete.
Absolutely.
And it's a habit, and it's just what I do. And you learn a lot, and you get a good picture
Absolutely,
in your head of what's going on.
So these are the heads when there's a change of length where all of a sudden you can see a whole lot of bowls.
Like a shotgun.
Yep, all around the place. And it's so often you'll see this happen. And how's this line now of Tessa Farley's coming past the front bowl. And
just drifting a little bit there. Remembering the score is 12-10 to Colin after 12 ends of the 16 they're going to play. So Colin's protecting a 2-point lead with 4 ends to go.
Sometimes on these change of length, at first and best rest. So Karen Hemus sitting way up there on the bank, enjoying the sunshine, watching the bowls.
I watched her play an amazing game of pairs and section play of the Nationals, Kev, at Carlton Cornwall against someone.
Mandy Boyd?
No. Was it Claire? Might have been Claire Hendra and her partner, who was
Taylor Bruce.
Taylor Bruce, yes. And Karen was playing with
Jackie Broderson.
Jackie Broderson, thank you. And it was an amazing game of bowls to watch. I think Claire got up by 1 in the end. And a plate update, Kev.
11 ends gone, and it's David Akara who's leading Phil Taylor by 15 shots to 9. As we see this bowl of, thank you for that, Mike. So how's the weight going to go by on this
he's
one?
Running through.
Yeah, well, this is what's going to. We spoke about the length and holding a, you can.
Yeah.
And so James Williams trying to
Nice backhand.
readjust.
Covering Collins' bowl there by the looks.
This is the first and best dressed in this one.
Yeah, and when you're playing in these sorts of events, you go, come on, get close.
And this is going to be under the line. This bowl of Colin Williams. It's like night follows day. You can, you either play it another 2 metres up or you play it back towards the 2 metre mark. We used to call this in the old days, I shouldn't say the old days, but I refer to it quite normally. It's a suicide length.
Yeah. And James on his forehand now. Looking for, he just needs to find a good weight, That's what you're looking for.
Well, this is better. But how far is it going to run?
The problem you have when you're playing these is and the reason people get into trouble, that was lucky.
That was very lucky.
The reason you get into trouble is you let your bowl go and it feels real good. You're like, oh, this must be a nice weight for this. And you go flying 2 metres past, you go, well, need to take some weight off.
And you try and adjust.
Tense up a little bit and suddenly you fall short. And your third one, you get your weight right, but you've forgotten about your green and that disappears and you sit there with your fourth bowl in your hand and you've played 3-nothings.
Yeah, are they going to get a bit of luck here as well? And they did Colin Williams feathered off the bowl and got shot out of it, Jack level.
James on his forehand again. He needs to change a little bit from his last one. Looks tight out of his hand.
Looks tight out of the hand, I agree. Alex, certainly, and it is. We'll see it go now.
He's going to be crossing his fingers for a rest. Oh, is he going to beat his bowl up? That's an impressive display of athleticism there from James Williams.
Yeah, here's a chance for Colin Williams to draw one into the head and really put some pressure on those last 2 bowls.
Beautiful track if he's got the weight
right. This is a good
right.
track. He gets past this. This is a good bowl. This is a very good bowl of the Colin Williams. Now there's pressure on, especially with that front bowl.
And it doesn't look like a pretty 3, but this is almost sort of 3 I quite enjoy holding when I'm playing a game of bowls because there's gaps there.
A lot of holes.
You have to literally, to draw a second shot or the shot, Kimberly's going to have to play a really, really good bowl because stuff's in her track.
And the difficulty, you're right, because of where the bowl of Tessa Farley is located out in the front of the head, you can very easily just push your bowl out of fraction.
Yeah, it's a better 3 to sit with than it looks like.
So on the backhand,
let it go smooth, following the bowl up. Watching it intently, it looks tight from here, but who knows how long it can hold up for. She's got the weight. Got the weight for a trail even. What
got the jack. Got the jack on the run through.
I know nothing.
Well, you could say really, Alex, and this is no discredit at all, it ran into the jack.
Yeah, yes.
So now Tessa Farley every chance to reach that bowl.
Thank you, Colin, for moving out of the way.
Kimberly Hemingway's. How's this bowl? Is this breaking towards the jack line now? How's this bowl of Tessa Farley's? How's that?
Bowl.
Sits right inside the the shot bowl of Kimberly Hemingway. That's a big bowl.
It's good also to see a bit of a crowd here, Kev, considering it's a Monday and most people are meant to be back at work.
Is it Monday?
I think it's Monday, yeah.
Okay.
There's a bit of a crowd gathered and both teams are being well supported. It's always nice when you're a player out in the rink to have...
and this too's a good attempt. This too's a good attempt.
What a shot.
And just got...
Oh, is it going to sit down? Yes, it sat down. That looks like it. I think it's 2. Oh, Colin reckons he's holding 1. Okay.
Yeah, bad luck to Kimberly Hemingway because played both of those bowls very, very well. 12-10 as we come to now the end of the 13th of 16 ends.
Yeah. Looks like he's asking Tessa to play a forehand here. Must feel like it's a safer option. Be wide.
Well,
wide.
Be moving to the jack on the back end.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. So you just want to be wide here. It's the way you want to err. If your ball comes back, it comes back. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Well, there's a good,
yeah, fair enough.
And well played.
One more there, the combination of Colin Williams and Tessa Farley. 13-10 now after 13 ends, 3 ends to go. There and back and there again.
Two lovely bowls there from both Kimberly Hemingway. You got the jack and then drawn inside it did Tessa Farley.
That's up a little bit, Kev, about halfway just about.
It is. Now make sure then you get the jack down towards the 2 metre mark.
Oh, it's going to be down towards the 2 metre mark and more, I would suggest it, the way this looks like it's... Oh, okay, I don't know anything.
That's
good. Yeah, well done, Colin.
Right, it's on the 2 metre mark. That's where it had to be.
Good throw of the jack there. It's an important skill. I used to go down to the club and roll up a few jacks just to see if I could get them in consistently the same place. And Colin leading off on his forehand now. He should have a feel for the weight.
13-10 as we play the 14-10, 14-16. And thank you to, of course, today, Tamara again, and Mike Nada and Steve Clifton, who've done a wonderful job helping right throughout the day. And it just rolls into the ditch. Most appreciative of their help.
James Williams on his backhand, blank canvas at the moment. Colin had perfect green, but just overcooked it slightly. This means if you're James, you want a front toucher.
Oh, this is going to
hold
be
up.
Under the line.
Good shot there. Oh,
It's
reasonable
fine.
shot. Good
It's
enough.
jack low, but
Colin, go nice and smoothly on the forehand. It's a delivery I'd pay a bit of money to have.
well, it does make a big difference, doesn't it, to where the good bowl coming here.
connection.
Look at this breaking towards the centre line and the jack. Well played.
Great correction there. It can be so easy. The same thoughts go through your mind in those situations as they do when you have a sort of a short jack and you go searching because your first bowl's gone flying into the ditch. So how do you correct from that? But he's done a good job of managing himself. James Williams on his forehand here. He's looking for a bit of help. Doesn't need... Oh, he found the gap.
Nearly set on the... Nearly set there on the shot bowl. Now, they change over. And 14 we're playing.
Tessa here will be on her forehand, I would think. Might be narrow again. Just
Short, they
die.
say.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, what it does mean is that the forehand's the hand that everyone's going to play for just about the rest of the 10, unless you're playing with searching with weight. All the draw bowls will be down the forehand side.
So Kimberly Hemingway, one down on the head, 13-10.
On her forehand as well. Looking like it's tracking okay. She's got the weight right. Might just be reaching a little bit too far.
Stays up.
Good place.
It's fine.
They're almost setting themselves up for that backhand
Well, I was
reaching
just
shot
going to
now.
say, there's that backhand reaching shot through there to the jack. And it's going to be played sooner or later, one would think. And this will be good for
Good shot.
Tessa. This sits in between, mixes those bowls up. That's well played.
Good shot.
That bowler, Tessa Farley's, just draws its way back right to the centre line.
Got to be tempting to change your backhand shortly. Looks like Kimberly's going to spin one more bowl on the forehand, trying to get one close. But you got those two bowls at the back and Collins' bowl, so you like bowl or jack on the back end. It does look inviting.
It certainly does under the James Williams bowl to get down to the jack. This is a good attempt from.
Oh, you can just draw it on your forehand.
Anyway, what about this for the drawn shot?
What a bowl!
A
Great
toucher,
shot
in
there.
fact, back toucher.
Oh, I don't think the backhand runner's on anymore, Kev.
Don't think they'll be playing that now, but the shot was certainly on. Well played, Kimberly
Very
Hemingway.
good bowl.
So now,
On the forehand from Tessa.
everything to gain by reaching.
Colin is very interested in this. How's the oomph? It looks like it's
Under.
just running out of petrol.
So 2 more ends after this with Kimberly Hemingway and James Williams holding one shot.
I think we're in for another stressful finish. Kev.
Think so?
I reckon they should see if they can get to 19 ends. You may as well.
Been a lot of long days recently,
Yes, you're not wrong.
Alex.
Can believe it stops. You won't be unhappy. Although it's unlikely the Jack's going back in that direction if it's going back at all.
So Tessa Farley now.
Yeah, you should just be thinking back to whichever bowl it was that went a little bit past
and just
play call on that
back
weight.
yourself with a bit of confidence to
Interesting
reach
here.
This is on a good line with this weight.
Close, Tessa.
This is on a good line. Just going to rock the bowl and go by.
What an effort that was. Magnificent weight for the shot too. It would have guaranteed a real close 2 or 3.
Would have sat cleanly on the bowl and moved the Jack as well with it.
They're such difficult bowls to play on these sorts of greens and these sorts of conditions, but when they are played and when they are played well, they're then really hard to get yourself out of that situation.
So changing.
Wants it to come back and bounce. I don't think it's going to quite manage it.
I don't know if that'll come back, I don't think. Trying to coax the bowl in.
So it's out to me.
I'm going to pick it up, and James Williams is picking it up now. Can Colin Williams play one of those big bowls?
Yeah. needs to find it from somewhere. He's 3 points up with 3 ends to go, so that's not a huge margin to be winning by. You want to sort of be, I don't know, 4 up last end to be nice. That's what he'll be looking for at a minimum. So he can afford to drop this end if he scores the next one.
Well, he's not going to drop, one would think, more than one shot.
Yeah. Should put him 2 down and get 2 or 3 on the second to last end to make sure you can defend that 4 without last bowl.
Here trying to get to...
He's tight. It's underneath the
tight,
line.
But only just tight under the line. And that's fine sitting there.
Great effort. Beautiful weight. Perfect weight.
So, our pleasure to bring this coverage to you. The Auckland Bowls Ryman Healthcare 242 mixed pairs. And we trust you enjoyed this full day of coverage on the Auckland Bowls website. And it's been Tamara and myself and Alex, of course, now our pleasure.
I'm glad I've been able to contribute, Kev.
Our pleasure to bring this.
James on his forehand. He needs it to swing, needs it to come back into the head.
It's a good attempt, really, because it's perfect weight to get to, and it's not easy to get around those front bowls to get to that dead draw line.
By finishing where he has at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock on the screen, he's ensured that Colin can't play a bowl with more weight. Colin has to play a really controlled shot here on his forehand because if you spring the Jack out too far, it's not going to be great. So you just be drawing here for the front touches sort of idea, and if you move a little bit for a couple, that's fine by Colin.
So here is now Colin Williams playing for that draw shot.
He's playing with slightly more weight than I expected.
Alex spoke about. It's going to go by. How long has Colin been playing, approximately, did you say?
About 5 years, Kev.
5 years.
We play a lot of indoor bowls together, so we've played, I don't know, he would have been playing 15 years of indoor, 5 years of outdoor. He's a pretty accomplished indoor bowler. He's won the Auckland singles. We won the pairs together a couple of times, so he's not a stranger to the pressure of being in a final. About 5 years of outdoor.
So here now, can James Williams add to the one shot? Here he is on his backhand.
Chasing after his bowl. That means he likes it.
Still chasing it.
Real brave to add a second shot.
It's one.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been that brave. But one there, so the game's tight still. 2 the difference after 14 ends. There and back they need to go. Where's the mat going this time? Reasonable.
Of course, mixed pairs is a bit of a go this year because we've got, after the Somerset National Fours in Alexandra, the mixed pairs.
Yes, it's very exciting. We're very excited about it. We've got in excess of 100 entries already for the mixed pairs down there.
That's fantastic, isn't it? And there's some good combinations as well.
There's been some great combinations come through. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out, and what a wonderful surrounding it's going to be to play a Nationals in.
I was fortunate enough to be at the Alexandra Club a few months back, and it certainly is. It's a tremendous complex, very, very nice, right next to Molyneux Park, and very, very nice surroundings. And that 100 entries, I think, might have increased over the last few days, because during the back end of the Nationals, there was a number of players talking about their various combinations, and because it's a while since the mixed pairs have been played.
Yes, it is, and it's in a different. We're playing them a different way this time round too. It's not a pathways event.
So because the last one you came through your regional, you won the last New Zealand mixed pairs?
I want to say the Watsons, but I can't remember.
Okay.
Who was it?
Was Raylan Castle and Mike Kernahan.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good.
And they beat Shannon and Amy McElroy in the final.
That's even better, Kev.
So, that was when you played in their case, you played a regional thing. Mike Kernahan was in Auckland at that time.
They should try and defend their title in a manner of speaking, Kev.
Well, I actually had a bit of a difference of opinion with Mr. Kernahan during the Nationals, because he hadn't even asked his previous last player, and that's fine. She's quite relaxed about it. And Mike Kernan, in fact, is playing with Lisa Prideaux.
Lisa Prideaux, that'll be a good team. There is, as you say, there's a number of them through. We'll do the same thing with this Nationals as do with the last lot. When we get near the end of entries closing, we'll just release a big list of all the teams and all the names and where they're from and how they're spelt, and get people to check them. So anyone listening, you can check out to see who's in the mixed pairs just before or just after the closing date. It's going to be a great group of
and I hope that's representative as well, insofar as a good entry in the fours in the new location.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's all in context. So yeah, it's looking pretty good, and we've got a while yet before the entries close. So
yes, it is.
Hopeful for a few more.
Wind out there now. You're watching. It's so obviously some wind just come up, and it's you on the find of the women's pairs. You actually went out and picked something up that we got just as it was Dale Rayner was about to play her second bowl.
Yes.
There was a huge big gust of wind went through, and
there was.
Some astroturf grass got picked up.
The whole lot,
yeah.
Yeah,
and it just
flung against the tripod. It
just came from nowhere.
Yeah, no, it was a gust of wind. Dale just laughed, I think. That's what she usually does. But
she does.
We saw there Colin lost his bowl, and James essentially lost his bowl on the thing. So you're right, the wind must just be having a little bit of a gusty moment.
Dale Rayner, in fact, playing with Gary Lawson in the mixed pairs.
Really?
It certainly is.
It's a good mixed pairs team. Played with Aidan Takarua and the Auckland mixed pairs.
Got defeated yesterday, didn't they?
To their
lost out
won their first section.
So, holding to the two bowls of Tessa Farley's. This is going to be under the line. Well, it's a bit of pressure. I look at the three bowls to date of James Williams, and this is where can Colin Williams really drive home some pressure going into that last end.
And how good. Look at Tessa's two bowls sitting there close.
And
pretty pleased with herself there.
And this is going to be handy too. This bowl sits literally just higher the jack, but certainly puts the pressure on James Williams to draw up close on this 15th end.
Following his bowl up.
Doesn't look too bad, does it?
Following his bowl up. He's not.
How's the weight though? Is it going to go past with weight? It is.
This is a massive end of the second to last end of the event.
This is it.
Huge end of the context of the game. If they can score a 3 here, I mean, you're halfway to it. You got half your badge.
Well, this is in fact one of those ends, Alex, that we spoke about, where they're not locked on the jack and there's gaps everywhere, and
it's a better number to hold than it looks, because your opposition has to play a really good bowl, even to draw a second shot here from Kimberley.
Well, that bowl won't count. Just that last bowl. So a change over. Kimberley Hemingway, we've seen her drawing ability, and I'm sure it won't remain like that.
On the crossover now. And Kimberley walking up to the mat. Looking like she's setting up on her backhand, I would say. Big bowl in the context of the match here. Even second shot's good. Let it go smooth. That's a good start.
And it's well arced out on the...
Half a chance
it's
here.
well arced out on the head. This bowl, there's a wonderful bowl coming in here from the youngster.
What
and this
shot.
will be...
Good bowl there. I think that second shot.
Second shot,
that's a
I
great,
would say.
What a great first bowl to cross over and chuck down the green.
And indication was from Colin Williams that it still is 1. So Tessa Farley, yeah,
On the forehand.
of course, can turn her own bowl over.
Looks a bit tight.
Does.
Fair effort.
So Kimberly Hemingway, if she was to beat her own bowl, I would say would literally have shot. She jumped out like that.
How's the weight?
Looks to be slightly
needs
on
it
the
to
wider
break.
side. And is going to run into the
Quarter of a bowl.
Tessa Farley bowl. Now, not all Tessa Farley's got to do, but if she's fortunate enough to roll her front bowl over, and he wants one roll out of it, and that would make shot. It's going to go by.
And so we move into the final end of this mixed pairs final for 2021. We are now, aren't we? And it's looking like
Measure,
a
out it comes.
It's interesting.
Back bowl. And
Measuring for 2. What was it? Was that 1 or 2, Kev?
I'm not sure.
1.
1 was the call.
Lovely. Glad other people were watching. 1 there to Colin and Tessa, so they are to a 14-11 lead on this, the last end. Well, potentially the last end. The last scheduled end, I suppose.
So,
of the Auckland mixed pairs.
is it going to be that last bowl that Tessa Farley played in the semi-final on the replay of the extra end?
I think they need to. I mean, half of me wants them to go to 19 ends because I just want to see if they can. But as a point Chevy and someone who lost a semi-final to Colin and Tessa, I'll be lying if I say I didn't want them to win this to sort of ease the hurt a little bit.
Well, Tessa played a great bowl.
It was a great shot. You can't have. I went for a walk around the block. I'm okay now.
And I think they've called for the umpire to have a look at the length of this.
Gerard Holst has been a busy man this last week as well.
Oh, he loves
umpiring
it.
The Nationals.
He loves it.
Wandering onto the green with the tape measure. It needs some CRC, by the way. Is that an umpire's kit? Is that something you have in an umpire's kit? Some CRC?
Something that's never ever affected me
It's like fingernails down a blackboard.
because I don't know what's in. Well, is there a laser measure? You know what? Remember? You know what?
You can, but it would be. It'll come. It'll come, Kev, the laser measure.
Well, we shot in Australia. Remember? And we sort of.
Yes, I got very excited. Does he? Gerard has a laser measure.
Oh,
Good
there
on
we
him.
are. Some excitement. So, Jack's up. Mind you, Alex is very, very good in Australia because he certainly looked after Brendan Van Nistelrooy, Ben, and myself and Robbie Allen. Had all sorts of exquisite sweets. That
The food was good in Australia, Kev. I enjoyed that.
great opening
What a
bowl
shot
here
Colin
from Colin Williams. When you're 3 in front playing the last, now you just make sure your next bowl is about a metre behind. And
what it means is if James and Kimberley, you cannot fit 3 bowls in the gap between Colin's
Correct.
bowl and the jack. So if
pressure's on.
you're going to score 3 points, the jack cannot stay there.
So now from the Colin Williams and Tessa Farley situation, it's really that now playing that game of checkers where if Colin here was even to draw to Weir,
Yeah, salt and pepper the head up.
James Williams, and that's ideal. It's coming to where that James Williams bowl is and will sit
Good shot.
right alongside it. So
Great
that
bowl there. That's 2 top-notch bowls from Colin Williams.
so that nullifies that part of it. Here's James Williams again on that scoop.
And because they've got more time, Kev, this end conceivably could be killed a few times, couldn't it? Because it's respotted on the 2.
Great attempt here. Just going to slide under it.
James. It's respotted on the 2 only if the time signal has gone. So perhaps wouldn't be surprising if they're still in the situation near the end, if James has 2 pretty big nibbles at it and sees if he can kill it and get to an extra run.
I don't think I've seen him right throughout. I've seen him drive it all, actually, from sitting here all day. I don't think I've seen him on the drive. So, Tessa Farley on the backhand.
Oh, the plate event is finished. We'll figure out who won it in a second. David Akaruru and Philly won the plate event, so congratulations to them. The final score you'll be able to find on the Auckland Bowls website. 18-9. Thank you, Steve. Steve Clifton knows everything. 18-9 to Dave and Philly in the plate final, so congratulations to them. 3 long days. It's always nice to finish off with a win, so well done. So, from Phil Taylor and his wife.
Kimberley Hemingway straight away. You can see what the plan of attack is now, playing for that jack trail. Now back to here, because there's 2 bowls back in here now, so back to mix up between the Kimberley Hemingway bowl. Well, I'd be playing the other hand to get down in between those 2 bowls. Some
danger bowls at the back for sure, about 8 o'clock.
That
on the
trail
screen.
side now, just a matter of how far this comes back.
Some big swing. If it stops, it's okay. That's fine. So that again restricts the weight that can be played. You know, if the jack has been moved back for 3, it needs to go back a metre.
Well, if this ball goes behind the head, Alex, it's...
Sit through Collins' bowl. Square is fine too. Needs to get it clean though. No jack movement. A little bit stiff there, a little bit unlucky. And I think the kill's gone now too, because that jack looks like it's going straight back. I don't think it's going out of bounds.
Right, yeah. You can...
It's going to be a very interesting decision here. Remembering they are 3 up on this last end with a front toucher. Colin must feel like... What's he calling here? A foot over. I can't really see where the jack's going. It looks like it's passing by Kimberley's bowl that you can see at 7 o'clock.
So here is Tessa Farley.
On her backhand. Colin asking it to slow down. If it's a clean run, this is a really good bowl. It's probably where the jack's going to end up.
Anything back to the centre line.
Good shot.
Is fine. And now we'll see a change of hands. Now, is there a chance that the shot bowl can come out clean without the jack movement?
I would be very surprised, but nothing's impossible. If it's not touching, it can happen. She almost needs to use James's bowl on the forehand to get the right angle for it to happen, though. Half bowl off. That was a fair effort. That was a good bowl.
Right, now time to get a mix-up in amongst the 2 greens and the browns, the triangle there.
Yeah, there's your danger.
It's time to get a mix-up in there. And
Tessa asking to play the forehand. Colin asking her to play the backhand.
And Tessa Farley certainly...
good call. Come have a look at the head if you're not sure, particularly on the last end of it.
She knew what she wanted to get to that triangle of... You'll see there's the 2 green, the Kimberley Hemingway bowls and the windy colour 1 bowl there of James Williams, and that's the target. In the other parts of the green, they're all mixed up, 1 apiece.
Yeah, fair call. I'd be happy to leave a front toucher, to be honest. You know, your opposition, James and Kimberley, have to play a really good bowl to move that. It's literally a 1 bowl target. Just chuck a bowl on your forehand.
My only
even if you beat Collins' bowl at 7 o'clock, it's fine. My
only concern is that you get the back of that on the flick through. It could move over past the centre line, and not an easy shot. But you saw in your game where you got beaten, it wasn't an easy shot, which Tessa had to play and managed to get the jack to move. So
she's playing a backhand here, so she must be trying to draw to Kimberley's 2 bowls underneath across the centre line.
Correct. That's the indication that she wanted to try and play, was across under the centre line.
Panic stations.
And if it gets past here, this isn't bad at all, actually. This is pretty good, actually, because it mixes them up in a roundabout way. And, all of a sudden you're running out of shot options.
The only thing that could possibly have done is if the jack now hits that bowl, it's going to kill, isn't it? Instead of it going clean through.
And that's what Kimberly Hemingway's looking for.
That's a good result.
Right, now what that does is it makes it very, very... The kills the only bowl on now.
Yeah, and he has to hit it real hard because I'm not convinced. With the way the jack's lined up, you can see it's lined up to go at an angle to our left past or through that gap between Tessa's 2 bowls at 6 o'clock and Kimberley's at 7. If it goes clean into the ditch, that's no good to anyone. Well, it's good to Colin and Tessa, I suppose. So I'm not sure. I don't know where I can't really see where it's going to end up at. But James, you can't be short.
So here is Colin Williams playing his second to last bowl of this final.
Not convinced.
Of the Ryman. Oh, don't give a slide opportunity. That's
Panic.
That's a jack level slide opportunity. The jack trail.
James on his backhand with weight.
It's a slide opportunity. It's a slide opportunity.
What a ball, what a shot. That's
2 shots.
Yeah.
What's the danger of the jack level slider?
Up. Yeah, you're right. That's pretty stressy times. So they're holding 2 there. But I mean, they're not within a metre. You'd back Colin to go and chuck one close. You want to make James play a bowl for the 3 in the draw.
For the extra end.
You want to make him play it.
The key thing here for Colin Williams is to make sure that don't worry about trying to get out to where the jack is. Make sure that you get back across towards that centre line where you're going to mix up.
You just got to back yourself to play that natural weight. You know, in these situations, they look easy, but they're not. All the pressure in the world.
And
on the backhand, he needs it to run.
It's enough.
Yes, he's made it. Made it for 1. It's not a close one, but it's 1 nonetheless. So James now has to play a bowl.
It just makes it so difficult to get the 3, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
where does the jack need to go for 3 to happen, Kev?
The jack needs to go exactly where his foot is now. He needs to get around to the bowl and literally move it sideways across towards the centre line, and that would leave them line 3.
For 3.
You know, really hard shot to play, and that was well played by Colin because it's not easy, and he was still a metre and a bit low, but it didn't really matter because
it's the shot you want Mike Galloway to phone a friend in and come and play if you want to move the jack 2 feet.
Yeah.
James, he's looking to kill it.
And we'll be interviewing the winners in but a moment. We'll get down, and I can tell you, I'll leave you now with Alex as we.
Thank you, Kev. I'll ramble away for a little bit until you get down there, but what a great final we've just watched there, and you see a hug from Colin Williams and Tessa Farley. That's a celebration and a half, winning that final 15-11 after 16 ends over James Williams and Kimberly Hemingway. It's been a great day of bowls on and off the green. I hope that everyone listening and watching and everything else has enjoyed it. And if you're just catching the end and you want to watch the other 2 rounds, have a nose at the Auckland Bowls YouTube channel, which should be how you're watching this, and chuck a subscribe in there as well, because I believe that they're going to be broadcasting a number of their centre finals over the coming seasons. So chuck a subscribe there. Tick the bell, I think, is what you need to do, and you'll get a notification every time they go live. And we'll see in a second Kevin Hicklin interviewing Colin Williams and or Tessa Farley about their win. It's a second centre title for both of them, I believe. Tessa will have won some juniors, but a second open one, and a well-deserved one at that, with the come-from-behind win in the semi-final. I don't think they lost a game.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and we just witnessed a wonderful final. And so congratulations to Colin and Tessa on an absolutely enthralling semi-final, of course, which they played prior to that against their club mates. So come over here, I want to have a chat with you both. So firstly, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done, Tess, congratulations. So how'd that feel? What was it like?
I don't really. I'm lost for words, really. It's good to win. It's been a long 3 days. Just exhausted at the end of it, but really thought we got over the line.
Well, you played. It was one of those games where could have gone either way, wasn't it? Right throughout,
yeah.
it was tight.
Yeah, whenever we threatened to sort of break away, they would get a one, or we'd give them one, or something like that. But we managed to hang in.
So how was that test? It was a pretty hard 3 days, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. We had some awesome competition out there, and we had some amazing games, so it's been really good.
So, of course, a big thank you to Ryman, who are the sponsors of this mixed pairs, and it's been our pleasure to bring this to you. And, of course, Taranaki next week.
Yeah.
Hey, whole week down there.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to you can't right now. Tess, I've got to ask you that the bowl on the extra end, that was pretty special. You felt confident with it halfway up? You knew you were in the target area?
Yeah.
You did well. That's confidence, isn't it? And for those who don't know, because she's a curling expert as well. So well done to you both. Congratulations. Great semi-final, great final. Commiserations to the losers, to James and Kimberly, who put up a wonderful display. And I'll now pass it over to David from Auckland Bowls to take over the proceedings from here.
Thanks, Kevin, for that kind words. I'd like to thank everyone here. It's been a great day. Fantastic bowls have been played, not only in this match but in all the matches across the tournament. So well done, everyone. One of the things we would like to have thanks to is our major sponsor is Ryman Healthcare. They do a fantastic job in terms of supporting Auckland Bowls. They also do a lot of initiatives, community initiatives, and we've had the melanoma truck outside, which they're trialling, which has been a great success today. And so I'd like to hand over to Rose so she can just give you a quick update on Ryman.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and congratulations, you too. I know from previous experiences the 3 days is huge for you, so well deserved. I'm from Bruce McLaren, the local Ryman village just up the road, and I'm here to represent Ryman Healthcare. We have villages throughout New Zealand and Australia. We have 7, 8 already scattered through Auckland, with 3 under construction, so it's very, very exciting what we're doing for the people over 70, and being involved with Auckland Bowls is awesome. Yeah, so congratulations again.
I'd like you to thank you, Rose. I'd like to pass over to our Auckland Bowls president, Graham Scott, just for a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, David. On behalf of Auckland Bowls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance today. It's great to see you all here, particularly hanging around to participate in the presentations. Again, on behalf of Auckland Bowls, Rose, my special thanks to Ryman Healthcare for the sponsorship and the effort they put into not only this tournament, but a lot of tournaments that we have in Auckland Bowls. It's most appreciated. We couldn't do it without you, so we really appreciate your support. I'd also like to thank Howick, Brian, and your team. A special thanks for the 3 days. You've done a great job. Your volunteers, most probably ready to go home and have a good sleep after you've shouted them a beer or whatever. Your volunteers are most important, and you've done a great job. The greens are playing beautifully and the club's looking great. So thank you to Howick and all your supporters. Thank you. To the team, Gerard, where is he? Where's young Gerard? He's in there. The umpires and the team organisers have done a great job looking after the organisation and the smooth running of the tournament. Gerard, thank you very much. It was well done and most appreciated. Thank you. And also the players and your supporters. a big thank you, because without you we wouldn't have a tournament, of course, but it's great to see you all here enjoying sport. The winners today, there are one or two, but everyone that participated has been a winner, so it's great to see you all happy and enjoying it all. So thank you for your participation. And also Tamara Tamara, Bowls New Zealand, Kevin, a great job in live streaming. Thank you very much. It just brings our sport, the sport we love, out there into the public, and hopefully it's going to increase the participation, of course. So a big thank you to you guys as well. So presentations. Shall we start with the plate? Could I have Philly and Dave, please? Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
Dave, well done, mate. Cheers. The boss was in charge again. Well done. Rose, the plate.
From Ryman and Rose. Congratulations. What an awesome day for you. Oh, sorry. So here you go.
I don't know. Right.
They want us to be in front of the Ryman sign.
Oh, right, right. Over there. With the signs, with the signs. Well done.
Second place, just congratulate them.
Second place winners. Well done. Billy and Dave. Second place winners. James and Kimberley, well done. Great final. Great to watch. Well done, guys. Thank you very much. And to Sandra and Colin. Phil. Again, a great final at the other rink. So well done. Thanks very much, guys. Yeah. And the winner of the event, of course, Tessa and Colin from Point Chev Pirates. Well done. Hey? You want me to move in too? Okay, right. Well done.
Awesome.
Well done.
Thank you. Tonight.
Oh, well done. Thank you.
Colin, a few words, please.
Oh, a couple of words. You know, they're just.
Does this thing work?
I don't know.
Oh, well, that's not good. I don't really project my voice that well. I'll keep it short because I don't really like speaking too much, but just reiterate what's been said. Thank you to everyone, Howick, umpires, everyone involved. It's a big task behind the scenes. I won't list people because I will probably forget someone. Thanks to everyone we played. We had some real good games along the way. Alex in our semi-final. Yeah, and lastly, thanks to Tess. She's been a superstar all week, all 3 days. And well, yeah, thanks. That's it. There we go.